Hello, I'm Mrs. Mills, your instructor for English 111, and I wanted to take a few minutes to talk to you about Module 2. Module 2 is entitled Writing, Thesis Statements, Audience, and Peer Review, and that's what you're going to do this week. You're going to take a look at thesis statements and peer review through two separate forums, and that's the main bulk of the week. So let me get my board. And again, I want to note that there are specific readings for the module. You can find that at the top of the module. And one of the readings is the crummy first draft. And you're going to really like that because it's about writing the first time is sometimes not so pretty. Writing a first crummy draft is somewhat messy, confusing, disorganized, and that's okay. Remember, all writing begins with terrible first efforts, and that's where peer review and the writing process come in. So we're going to take a look at the writing process, starting from brainstorming and pre-writing to drafting and editing and doing some peer review and finalizing a main end product. We're also going to look at thesis statements as well. Okay, so again, make sure that you read the indicated pieces noted in this module. And again, one of them is the crummy first draft, and it's really good. It's a really great piece. All right, there are two major forums this week, and I'm looking right at your assignment calendar. Remember, this is the be-all, end-all, so make sure that you are checking your assignment calendar for all these great due dates. One forum is thesis statements and practicing using and evaluating thesis statements, and another one is peer review. You also have a quiz on peer review and the writing process. So for that quiz, make sure you read all the directions, make sure that you read the noted readings, and prepare yourself. Please study and read, highlight in your book, take notes, and then take the quiz and take your time on that. Remember, there is an essay question within the quiz that requires a specific word count and proper elaboration. So again, I can't emphasize this enough. Please make sure you read and study the information given for the quiz before you take the quiz, okay? Of course, you're going to have your book open to take the quiz. I know this. However, the quiz is timed, and you can't backtrack. You can't go back and forth and move around within the quiz. Once a question pops up, you got to answer it. So you need to read and study and be prepared for the quiz before you take it. And there's no late due date and there's no redos. So make sure that you're fully prepared for that. Okay, on the topic of thesis statements, remember a thesis statement is, let me just read my definition that I have conjured up here. It is usually a one-sentence statement that ties together and gives direction to the separate elements of the paper. The goal is to persuade the reader that the thesis is valid. So again, the thesis statement is usually one sentence that kind of ties your whole subject together. Now, I said usually because if you need to break sentences, if you want to write two sentences to mainly get that point across in your thesis statement, that's okay. Your thesis statement is usually going to be written in your introduction, and it's probably going to be written in your introduction for right now in this English course. As you become a better writer and you develop a certain style, then you can get kind of funky with your thesis statements. But right now, let's just keep everything plain and simple and keep it in the intro, okay? Again, a thesis statement is a one or two sentence statement that ties together and gives direction to all the separate elements of the paper. So your reader knows exactly what he or she is looking for. There's no surprises. This is the main element, the main event, the main circumstance, the lesson learned, the main idea of the essay that will be approached and elaborated upon throughout the remainder of the essay. So in this particular forum, you're going to work with thesis statements, and you're going to effectively identify great thesis statements and poor thesis statements, and then you're going to talk about that. All right? Your second forum deals with peer review. We do use peer review in this class, and peer review is what it sounds like. You're going to post your rough drafts in appropriate forums throughout the course, and again, this is a practice forum. You're going to post your essay rough drafts, and your classmates are going to critique you and give you advice and kind of go over the paper and make sure it's organized, it's on topic, the grammar's there, and you'll see all those directions later on. But peer review, again, classmates helping each other with rough drafts, not final drafts, rough drafts, okay? And you're going to take your peer review and make any necessary changes, if you like, to your paper according to your peers. You may not like what your peers say. You may disagree with them. That's perfectly fine. They may give you just one great idea and you might want to roll with that. But peer review is very important. It's part of your grade within the rubrics. It's part of the rough draft section. So you're going to do a forum in regards to peer editing or peer review. You're going to be given pieces, essays, and you're going to, of course, review them according to the criteria I give you. All right? You're going to have a grammar quiz on comma splices, but we're going to talk about that a little bit later. I'll talk about that in the separate video. So, again, the bulk of the module here are forums, okay? You are going to be in groups for the forums. Please make sure you adhere to all the directions, and there are word count requirements, okay? You need to meet the word count for your initial posts. That's the post you give. And you also need to meet the word count requirements and other criteria when you respond to your classmates. Remember, when you respond to your classmates, you need to ask inquiry questions. So you're responding to the initial post regardless, and then you're going to ask your classmates questions. You want to ask inquiry questions, open, debatable, spark a conversation questions. For example, a great inquiry question for a forum could be, why is this topic interesting? How does it interest you? How does it impact your life? Is there a personal connection related to this essay? How did you derive the topic? Was it something you're interested in? Is it something you came across in a conversation? Does it come across in family conversations or conflict? I mean, those are inquiry questions, and those can be answered and debated and argued and spark more of a conversation. Those are simplistic ones. You're going to think of better inquiry questions. But remember, when you answer your classmates in the forums, you need to ask them questions, because that sparks a conversation. You are online, so we need to do the best we can to conversate with each other in the classroom. Okay, so we're going to talk and discuss within the forums using questions as a good start to replying to those posts. So it's very important to question one another and then answer your classmates back. And there will be directions on how to do that. So, and I just gave you some great examples. All right. Going back to the thesis statements real quick, I wanted to give you a couple of examples, and I'm sorry this is kind of out of order, but just an example for a thesis statement, and thesis statements are very important in this class, as you know. Again, a thesis statement is a 1 or 2 sentence statement tying the main idea of the essay together. Now, this thesis statement, or really not a thesis statement, drug addiction is a problem. Drug addiction is a problem. That's really not a thesis statement. I mean, that's really big and vague. That's too big. When you write thesis statements, you kind of want to slim it down. So a better thesis statement would be, drug addiction has caused an increase in violent crimes. Drug addiction has caused a huge increase in violent crimes. Do you see the difference? From the first sentence, drug addiction is a problem, to the one I just stated, drug addiction has caused a huge increase in violent crimes. See how the second statement is more specific? And then your paper would focus on that. But let's do one better. A better thesis statement. Drug addiction has caused a huge increase in violent crimes in the home, at school, and on the streets. Do you see how that's very, very specific? And the home, the school, and in the streets can be the organization of your paper. So that's a really, really nice thesis statement. Let me say that again. Drug addiction has caused a huge increase in violent crimes in the home, in the school, and on the streets. That's a lot more specific and a lot more detailed than just drug addiction is a problem. Okay? Remember, when you're writing, you need to get very, very specific so the reader knows exactly what's coming in the essay. Okay? Well, I hope you have a good day. This is enough for right now. Please check your assignment calendar. Check all the directions for the forums. Check the due dates for the forums and the responses. And remember that quiz. Okay? Read all the necessary material. And I hope you guys have a great day. Let me know if you have any questions. See you later.